Okay, I'm good to start if you are.
Yep.
Sweet. Okay, throwing it in. Awesome. So I'm Clay Mobley with Mobley Motorsport. We've been doing this podcast called Rolling Start, where we bring on some of your most favorite drivers and personalities in the racing world. And we got Scott Lovett here today. I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, I'm Scott Lovett, and I am definitely a personality.
Yeah,
I
Scott.
don't
So,
know if I don't know if I'm anybody's favorite, but we'll just go with that.
no. You got to be in everybody's top three, I think. At least top five, which is higher than I would score, I think. But no, you've dipped your toes in a little bit of motorsport, in quite a few different series and leagues. That's kind of how we met, right? And WRL, we both ran with a team that was running a bunch of Miatas at the time. We've been to a few tracks together. I think of some funny moments like at Daytona or out at Coda. Um, right? You want to divulge on your WRL experience and
Yeah, I mean, everything about everything we did was funny in the end, right?
yeah,
Sometimes it's frustrating when you're there, but that's racing. But yeah, I trying to remember all the way back. My first race, I think, and I don't even remember what year it was. It was before COVID or just before, well, my first endurance race anyway.
okay,
I started. Well, let's go backwards.
yeah,
I started racing, period, like just at the beginning. I want to say 2016, 2017. Um, Really long, dumb story, but a buddy of mine before, like I'd been a track junkie and, doing track days and everything, but had no real intention of going racing at the time. And a buddy of mine from Jersey calls me up one day. He goes, "Yo, I'm at this guy's house. He's got a Tony Stewart car in his garage. You need this thing." I'm like, "I don't need that. I never been to a NASCAR race in my life. I don't know anything about
yeah,
that." And he's like, "But he only wants like 16 grand for it." I'm like, "Whoa, tell me about this car."
yeah.
So yeah, so I ended up buying the car. And then after I bought it, I'm like, "Well, now what the heck do I do? Oh, gotta go get a comp license. We'll go race this thing." So
Yeah.
went through SVRA. They had a really good school at the time. Got my comp license. I started racing HSR and SVRA, doing sprint racing in the stock car class. And then, like I said, I don't remember what year it was. It was like 2017, somewhere in that area,
Yep.
2018 maybe. Me, Gino, and Rick Stengard got together and did an AER race with John DeBarros and the AOA crew.
Yeah.
And this is how racing gets you. You go out there your first time and you podium. And you're like, "This
Of
is
course.
great. I'm good.
Of course.
I'm gonna win all the time."
Yeah.
So we're like, "Cool, let's do it again." And then it wasn't so easy the next time. So
Yeah.
but we love it. And so you and I have done WRL. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I've done WRL, AER, HSR,
Yep.
SVRA, and I did RCN over at the Nürburgring.
Oh yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah, that was in anticipation of trying to do VLN and just
Okay.
haven't gotten there yet because
Yeah.
everything costs a lot of money. But
Yeah.
really, really cool experiences.
Yeah. No, that's phenomenal. I think what I think is interesting is you started in that Tony Stewart car in terms of racing and sprint racing. I've like
Backwards.
I've like tooted around a stock car in the paddock and coming from, the momentum style of driving that I claim to. I mean, the stock car, like especially driving on a road course, like that's insane. It's it,
It's it's so much fun.
yeah.
It's so much fun. And like I coach too, and I always tell people, like, it's all about fundamentals, right? If you
Yep.
get your fundamentals good, then you can pretty much drive anything. And I think it's true. Like, it's intimidating at first, but now I get out of my stock car and I'm like, it needs more power. Wish I had this. I wish I had that. It's
Yeah.
like 700 horsepower. Running a 28 and change at Rhode Island is not enough. So.
Yeah, it's insane. No, I remember. I think back in 23, being behind some of you guys on the track day before the midi, and I mean, you'd come out of six and you'd get sideways. You come out of seven and get sideways, and I'm just happy to like be able to see you guys when I come over the bridge. So, no, that was really cool.
Yeah, it's something else, man.
Yeah.
It's funny. Everyone talks about Miatas and how, like, just momentum cars and how you can learn so much from them. And
Yep.
so yeah, obviously I said I started in the stock car from a racing perspective. I tracked a bunch of stuff before that. And then we got involved in the endurance stuff, and I was out testing like a NC Miata, WRL car at Road
Yep.
Atlanta. and figured some stuff out. And then just after that was an HSR race, and one of the guys, he's kind of like the crew chief for all of the stock car stuff, pulls me aside. He goes, I don't know what to say, man. You're at least 10 miles an hour faster V-min going up turn one.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know.
Yeah.
Because I've driven Miatas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it gives you that perspective and that, that just understanding of how everything works and what you can do. If you tried to do that in a stock car first, probably wouldn't end up so well.
Yeah.
But, you go to the Miata, you do that, and then you transition over. And I think, we joke around about it, but it's one of the best things out there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I think it's the age old, like, gotcha. Or maybe it's a little bit of a litmus test. If you're talking to someone in the paddock and you ask them how they got started, and if they say Miata or E30 or an equivalent, you almost trust them a little more when it comes to wheel, right? You feel like maybe they're not going to pit me coming up one. So that definitely makes sense.
I never thought about it that way, but it's very true.
Yeah,
very,
no,
very true.
I versus the guy who says, like, I don't know, he started in a Subaru on a track day, and nothing wrong with that. It's just, I think if you spent time in an NC or NB Miata, or NA, of course, you know what it's like to have to carry speed to be fast, right?
Yeah, it makes you have to be perfect at everything because there's no power to save you.
Yeah.
You make a mistake, and what I think people don't realize is that still carries through everything. You can get to a point if you've got a 06 Corvette and you're doing it right, you'll get to a point where even that power is not going to save you.
Yeah.
So to understand all the nuance about racing, and I think a lot of people just kind of skip over it or don't realize it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So going back to WRL, you're going to COTA this weekend?
Yeah, Friday and Saturday. The
Okay.
race goes on. There's a race Sunday too, but I didn't need to be there all weekend.
Yeah, no, of course. And you're going there to assist or help teams with your new software. How do you describe it? Platform, dashboard. It's a team management dashboard is the way I look at it.
I call it an app, but it is. It's in the software world, we call it a SaaS platform. It's software as a service.
Yeah.
And the easiest way I can describe it is like if you've ever watched F1 and they got the guys and the girls in the pit wall and they've got all the telemetry and all the graphs and all the stuff and they're planning out race strategy.
Yeah.
To get that kind of capability and that kind of tool, those teams have teams of software engineers.
Yep.
And that the data is available almost everywhere, but when you get down to the grassroots level, no one can afford a software engineer,
Of course.
So I just started playing around with it, just seeing, hey, I wonder what I could do, and then it just kind of evolved into this thing. So now we've got this platform called Sector 1, and it's exactly that. It brings all of that F1 level strategy, telemetry, tooling, analysis, and it brings it to everybody. And it's a web-based platform, so it's a subscription. You tell it what series you're in, what car you're in, and then it just absorbs all the race data and it presents it in a way that makes you, hopefully, makes you manage your race better.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think, with your background, I mean, it lends itself well to being able to pull together data and put it in a digestible format, right? Do you think that racing and motorsport and the precision that's required to be good has helped you in your private sector endeavors, and obviously does it bleed back over into Sector 1?
I think so. I think, and I joke around about this with a lot of people because, like, I think a lot of people listening to this can probably relate. Like, you go to the job, you go to work, and there's people that do the bare minimum, and then there's people that, me, I just want to do well, right? I want to go and do what I was hired to do my best, and then leave for the day.
Yeah.
And that mentality it really comes down to like attention to detail and that kind of stuff is huge in motorsport, so then becomes huge in my work life, and now I'm tying the two together, right? Like, you couldn't go race a car for 8 hours and without attention to detail, you wouldn't last, right? So you've got to have that discipline. And when I'm taking all of that, my motorsports knowledge, my racing knowledge, my discipline, and then creating this tool. And what's cool about the tool is, again, it's like every detail matters, right? So when it calculates how much fuel it thinks you have left. It knows that you've done formation laps. It knows that your fuel consumption under yellow is different than fuel consumption
Yep.
under green. It knows that some tracks do a code 35, like a virtual safety car, and other ones do a genuine safety car. So all of those little things matter, because if you get 3 of those over the course of a stint, that could be a lap, right? And a lap, with or without fuel, makes a big difference. So, you want it as accurate as possible, as reliable as possible. And I think you're right. It all ties together.
Yeah, no, totally. I think that's something I want to get into, right? Is what type of features are on this app, and how do you envision if maybe there's a team owner who's running 2 cars and it is truly a grassroots operation. How do you envision them being able to use it? And I mean, for example, I saw today in the WRL Racer or the drivers group on Facebook, I think it was on there, but you posted that it was showing all the pit windows for every car that it was tracking. I think that's a phenomenal addition, right? So what are some other features that you think, or that are going to help some of those grassroots team owners and really the guys who are coming from Pro League as well?
It's like, to me, it's like building blocks, right? So it started with just go backwards, right? Like being in WRL, racing in WRL, and racing your heart out and building these cars. But yet the guys and girls who are managing the race engineers, they're doing stuff on like notepads and crappy Excel sheets, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's got to be a better tool than that. And then the idea of like, you don't know where the car is until it comes around the last corner and crosses the start finish line and then disappears again. So it started with putting the marching ants together, right? Giving a way to look at the track and understand where your car is. And then from there, it was like, okay, now I've got this data available, and what else can I do with this data? And so you break it down into timing. I can look at timing by class, by car, whatever it is. Okay, that helps me. And then you start thinking about the problems that you have as a driver. And I think this is a cool one, because this is one of these features that's coming that I haven't gotten, all the way through yet.
Yeah.
But in a multi-class race, and you're busy doing your thing, and there's a car coming up behind you, and this happens every race, right? And I radio back to the pit wall, hey, who's behind me? Do I need to worry about them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it for position, and do I need to try and defend? Or is it some guy that should be 3 seconds a lap faster, and he's just not really cutting it, and he's hanging back there like he's in my class? But I never get an answer. You never get a good answer. So now it's like, okay, well, can I do this in my tool? Yeah, the tool can do that. Now it can tell the race engineer, hey, the car behind Scott is a GP2 car, right?
Yeah.
And he's in GTO, so he doesn't need to worry about that, or vice versa. I don't know, from a driver's perspective, it takes a lot of the workload off of the driver. Does not have to worry about that stuff. It allows you to focus.
Definitely.
So that's a feature that's coming. There's even, someone had mentioned to me, and I really like the idea, to be able to put a tablet in the car that just basically shows like who's behind you and in what class, so that you know without having to radio back. And all that data's there, right? So all you've got to do is send it from one spot to another. So that's coming.
And if I can, the hardware for that, I mean, from a team owner perspective, you've got now a new app. Maybe they buy, a specific device to run this app, and then they're putting a tablet in the car. Like, it can sound expensive, but this stuff exists. The app can run on the devices they already have. The tablet in the car theoretically could be a $99 Android from Amazon, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it's geared towards, right? Like, what's the cheapest thing I can put in there? Because let's face it, not only do you not want to put $1,000 iPad in there, it gets scratched, you hit a wall, it goes flying, you know how race cars are. So like the app, the web-based piece of it is designed, like, I pay attention to performance. So when you develop stuff and you're adding things to the user interface, that it doesn't bog the computer down too much, because there's battery life and there's this and there's that. Not everybody's got a state-of-the-art laptop, especially if you're bringing it to the track. So this thing's got to run on garbage, essentially, right? The same thing with the tablet. When it gets in the car, you don't want anything nice in the car, because God only knows what happens. So, $25, $50 eBay Android tablet, and it's going to work. It's going to work just fine. So, and that's, again, it just pays back to the idea of, you don't need a software engineer. You don't need fancy equipment. The timing comes through MyLabs, right? There's an Orbitz server at the track that sends out all this information.
Yeah.
Now, the marching ants, for example, they're interpolated, right? If I know it took you 2 minutes to do a lap on the previous lap, then I'm going to assume it's pretty close this time around, and that's how you make the dots move around.
Mm-hmm.
But if you really wanted true GPS, it'll do it too, right? You can buy James Candelaria's got the Sentinel system, and the new V3 does telemetry, and I have the ability to pull that right into the app. So if you've got a V3 Sentinel, I can give you everything. I can give you everything off the CAN bus, and I can give you real GPS timing. It does sector times and mini sectors, just like F1, right?
Yeah.
So it's really just, it's again designed for the grassroots racer who needs better tools to do better things.
Yep.
And if you want to get crazy with it, you can get crazy with it.
Yeah. And not to throw another possibility in, because I know you got your hands full with it, but if they are running a tablet in the car, it could be possible to buy one of the USB connected GPS. Maybe we did that with Todd Presser's 944, and we're able to get pretty accurate GPS location just from running, Track Addict Pro as the dash, right? So, maybe there's some ways Sector 1 provides that as well.
There's a lot of things too, and I'm working on, again, this is probably 3 or 6 months out, but if you don't have telemetry, because telemetry means you're running a cellular modem, which means you're carrying an $80 a month data plan, which, if you're going to use once a month, who wants to pay that?
Yeah. But
I'm looking at some other more innovative options to be able to get data off of the car, even though you don't have a cellular link. Mm-hmm. And again, same thing, like very cheap equipment, may not be, F1 level as far as data speed or, data quantity, but it's going to get you everything you need to get the job done. So there's some stuff coming. The hardest part is it's just me. I can't afford to hire another developer.
Yeah.
So I'm moving as fast as I can, but I can't move as fast as my brain wants to go.
I think that's what's awesome about it, though, especially with having it, somewhat live in something like WRL. I mean, you've got so many teams who I can imagine are being, helpful with offering up, their devices and their cars, and wanting to test it out and help you on that sort of R&D, right?
Yeah, and in life, feedback is sometimes hard. Like no one wants to hear that your baby's ugly, right?
No.
But making it a very, I'm making it a priority that I'm talking to all the teams, whether they're using it or not.
Yeah.
The teams that are using it, what do they like? What do they not like? What do they need? The teams that aren't using it, what do you need that'll make you want to use it?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I know how I would do it and what I want to see, but I'm just one guy doing it one way. And if there's 80 teams running in the race, then there's probably 80 different ways that they want to do it. And I picked up some very, very, very good ideas, hey, it'd be nice if it did this. Or I'll give you a great example. A gentleman from Automatic Racing was like, hey, can you put what kind of car is because we've got a timing board, right?
Yeah.
I'm just going to make this up. I think car number 70 is a GTO car. But can you tell me what it is? Is it a Porsche? Is it a Mustang? And I was like, probably, but why? And he's like, because I want to be able to tell my driver there's a Mustang coming up behind you or a Porsche coming up behind you. I was like, that's brilliant. Yeah, because it goes back to my, hey, how do I know who this person is behind me?
Yep.
And do I care about them? So a little simple addition like that goes a long way, and I never would have thought of that. So, props to everybody out there who's got these ideas, and keep them coming, right?
Yeah.
It's just, it benefits everybody. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I will say the reason I think this is so important is because, we work really hard at building really good cars and being really good drivers.
Yeah.
But this is the piece that's missing to let us operate like the more expensive and the more premier, levels of motorsports.
Of course.
And when all of the folks at our level get the experience doing this, then the step up becomes easier too.
Definitely.
So I think it helps open opportunity as well.
Yeah, no, totally. I don't want to forget to ask this, but how, if I'm a team owner, if I'm a one car owner, whatever it is, how do I get in touch with you? How do I ask about, using Sector 1? Is it open for just anyone to use? And what does that look like?
Yeah. So the app itself is just Sector1.ai.
Okay.
Anybody can go and you can sign up, but when you sign up, you just pick what role you want to be. So if you're just an enthusiast and you want to watch the race from a different perspective, you can just sign up as a visitor, basically.
Yeah.
And it gives you all the marching ants, it gives you the live timing, and it gives you some spotter capability too.
Oh, nice.
Where, you know, if you're a team principal or if you're a race engineer, sign up as one of those, and it gives you all of the strategy tools and all of the real next level stuff. And then there's also a portal to sign up as a driver, right? So say Clay, you want to go race and you're not doing pit strategy, right? But if you sign up and you create your profile, then the race engineer put you in the car in the app, and then it's able to track all of your performance.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, and I want to make this clear. It's the platform is not about driver coaching. It's about race strategy. So it's not about how you take turn 3 better. It's about, you know, when do you pit? Why do you pit? Being aware of when a yellow comes out and if it makes sense to pit under yellow or not, understanding all the variables in racing and making that easier. So to answer your question, anybody can sign up. It's free until probably the first of the year. Okay. And then I'm gonna flip the switch and it's gonna become a subscription-based service, but I think people are gonna find that it's gonna be really, really affordable.
Yeah.
Like it'll be a no-brainer. Like
totally.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and look, I mean, it's needed, right? I mean, there are a couple of apps that you could download that will give you, you know, one or half of a feature that's on Sector 1, right? So you're putting it all together and you're making it digestible for team owners, engineers, strategists, and the drivers to access and make sense of. That's needed. I think one of the biggest things that I was surprised at coming into racing, right? I got into racing through track days and then Champ Car and WRL. And so when I'm in the Champ Car, when you're in that paddock, you look around and you know, like, we're here for fun. Like, we're taking it seriously. We're going to be safe. But we're here for fun. WRL, like, you begin to kind of step it up a little bit, especially now. You know, GP3 doesn't even exist anymore. I mean, they're only climbing up, right? But even still, going to the paddock and I look around and you've got some of this world-class machinery and teams that are really putting their all into it. But I always felt like on the tech side, it was just extremely lacking, the possibilities that are there. And so it's neat. I was really excited when I saw you announce Sector 1 and everything that could go into that.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, and I had this discussion with somebody, and I didn't even think about it until we got in the conversation. But if you look at innovation in motorsports, there's tons of innovation around performance parts and apparel and safety gear.
Yep.
But there's nothing anywhere else. There's nothing that helps team owners with logistics. There's nothing that helps race engineers manage the race. You know, and I didn't look at it and see a gap and go, that's the gap I want to fill. Not like that anyway. I just kind of, you know, I was like, hey, there's a tool lacking here and I think I can do something. And then I realized kind of after the fact that, man, like no one's been paying attention to this. So, yeah, I'm excited. And the message I want to give to like this, there's only, you mentioned all these products that are out there that do different things. You know, I'm not trying to take anyone's real estate, right? Like I would rather products integrate into this so that we can do different things. Like I said, I don't want to do driver coaching, but if someone's got a driver coaching tool and we can plug it in Sector 1, cool, have that. I don't want, you know, that's not my part ship. I don't want to do it, but if you're good at it, then let's do that kind of stuff. So I think there's plenty of opportunity. We're only kind of seeing the beginning. Like I mentioned logistics, like what about team management and crew management?
Yep.
Like, you know, it's in the pipeline and no one's doing anything with that, but you know, just by the nature of it, if I'm tracking every lap that a car does and I know how many hours it's been running, I can help teams with periodic maintenance. Of
course.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, here's a reminder, you know, this is what the car did and this is what's due after this race.
Yeah.
You know, hey, it's been 3 races since you did wheel bearings.
Yeah.
You know, it's really, when you have the data, it's not hard.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think I reached out to you about, you know, something similar to that because I had a couple guys reach out and ask if it were possible to track time in an Excel sheet. And I'm like, guys, like, A, I don't think so. B, it would be easier to just have someone make that. And I gave it a go, but I saw a Sector 1 come out and I'm just like, it's, you know, there's no way I could compete with what you got going on. You really got a good synergy with it.
Yep. But again, if you got the idea, let's sit down, let's do it, right? Let's put a module in there, let's figure it out, right?
I
You know,
appreciate it.
there's ways to do it, and there's ways, that you can be rewarded for it too. So it's not like you're giving away your stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that's important too, right? Because everybody's proud of what they build,
Yeah.
and want it to be successful in every way possible. So
Yeah.
there's ways to do it.
Yeah. Of course. No, I mean, that's good. I think that's a good message to put out there. That's neat. Do you have anything that's left open that you want to mention about Sector One? Because I got some fun questions for you after.
All right. No, I mean, again, it's in beta test right now. It's going to go live beginning of the year. If anybody's out here that so right now, and I don't know exactly off the top of my head, but I think the way the timing computers are orchestrated, I think, well, I know WRL, I know Lucky Dog, I know Champ Car, all have, I'm able to see the data, and the app will work with those series. I'm going to check on Lemons. I do think Lemons is in there, but I'm going to double check. But I say all this because if you're in a series and it doesn't have to be in the United States, right? It can be anywhere.
Of course.
And you want to be able to use the app, reach out to me. We can work with the series coordinators. It's a small app you've got to install on the timing server. And that'll allow the system to absorb it all and do cool things with it. So please reach out. I mentioned that the website is sector1.ai. So my email address, real simple, scott@sector1.ai. Any questions you have, any ideas, always glad to chat about it.
Yeah, no, that's killer. I really appreciate it. So, my first question that I would ask.
I think I'm scared.
No, it's not a bad one. It's in general, what track, and I've got one in my mind with a certain.
I feel like I know the answer to this already.
What track brings out the worst Scott Lovett, and which track brings out the best Scott Lovett? And maybe that's with expletives, maybe that's with happy signs. Which one? What do you choose? What's the worst and what's the best?
Chino's listening. He's going to say Barber brings out the worst in me.
Oh, geez. Okay.
That's a really bad day. Not I go to, but there's one track when it comes up, I go, wow. And that's Charlotte Roval.
Okay.
Screw that place.
Yeah. No, that's valid.
Every day of the week. It's in theory it should be a lot of fun, right? Like It's got the banked oval, you've got the infield, but it's like the kingdom of concrete there. There's no safety margin.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily, it doesn't bother me all that much, but the risks start stacking. You got slippery paint when it's wet. It gets super hot during the day. You get fatigued. Everything in the infield is off camber. The transition back up to the oval stinks, and it's just rough. It's a rough day every day that I've ever been there.
Yeah.
So not my favorite. But in contrast, like Daytona, you could look on paper and go, oh, that's really similar. Daytona is epic compared to Charlotte Roval. So, that's my thumbs down track, and the track that brings out the best of me, without a question, is the Nordschleife. Like,
oh wow.
There is no day like being at the Nürburgring and just having a car to be able to turn laps, and it doesn't matter if it's a track day or a race. Highly recommend doing a track day over a tourist day. Tourist days are a bit of a cluster.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But if you can,
I've never been, so.
Oh my God! If spring a few bucks to do an RSR track day, and it is just something you'll never forget.
Yeah, it's funny.
A lot of simulator time before you go.
Of course, no. Well, that's what I'm getting to. So it's funny that you mentioned Nürburgring, because I've always been like, I've always just loved Road Atlanta. I love Watkins. I drove at Daytona. I love Daytona, but I've never cared about Nürburgring. It's just never been one. If I'm on the sim and I'm on a European track, I love Brands Hatch, but I also love Spa, right? I've just never cared about Nürburgring. But here in the last 2 weeks, I've been running the ring, and I still use the driving line. But it genuinely, I ran it last night. It was like 2 a.m. I got off, I was done working, and I hopped on, and it was so fun. I was in the GR86, and I think I did 4 or 5 laps without incidents before I just put it in the wall. But it was fun. It was almost calming.
Yeah, it's like there's so many sections of zen on that track, and it's obviously it's so long. It's got an amazing flow to it. It's got amazing diversity. I mean, it's got a little bit of everything. You know, it's got elevation change, it's got surface changes, it's got everything, and
Yeah.
it is just, I don't know. I think maybe some of it is because it's it's in a land far, far away, so
Of course.
you got to make sure you maximize your adventure there. But I don't know that that has always been a bucket list track, and then going to Australia to do
Oh yeah.
like Mount Panorama,
Yeah.
that would be the next one.
Yeah, I've got some Australian coworkers, and I just saw them in Hawaii, and I had not met these people in real life. And one of the first questions, once I met him and we got, we got our handshakes out of the way, I was like, "So, have you been to Bathurst Circuit?" And surprisingly, he had. So he had a lot of
I'm
cool.
so jealous.
He had a lot of cool stories about it. He'd not driven there, but I mean, that's up on the list as well.
I feel like if I'm going to go all that way, I'm going to hit Suzuka, and then I'm going to go do that.
Yeah.
Just life-changing events.
Yeah, no, totally. That makes sense. No, I was thinking when I was thinking of thumbs down track. I agree with you. So my first race ever was at Charlotte in a Champ car, 14-hour enduro. Champ, Champ was I was with AOA. Champ was too cheap to buy out the practice day. It was not the same layout that was on iRacing, and I had Mark Brumman, Porter Aiken, and Casey Creighton as my teammates. It was
Stout team.
yeah, no, they carried me because I got in the car. It rained 4 inches that day. I got in the car having never driven on the track, and I just piddled my way around until I figured it out. I forget who it was. I was following somebody else in our second car that the team was running, and I just feel like, man, I feel like that track eats tires. There's no margin for error. So there were a few times where I was fairly safe, but somebody was crashing around me, and you just got to try to dodge where they're pinballing because they're gonna pinball. It's part of it, right? Um, yeah, so it's a fun one. I would love to go back. I've not been back. I'd love to go to Jay Zilla under the lights. Maybe I'll get this E46 out there or something, right?
Yeah, I won't. I mean, like, I'll never turn down a track day, but like at the same time, if there were, if I hate to say it, but if someone said we can go to CMP or we can go to Charlotte, I'm like, let's go to CMP.
Yeah.
I don't even like CMP really that much.
That's funny.
I live in Charlotte.
That's funny. Yeah, so you've got this E36 build going on.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the stock car, and do you have anything else that you're working on car wise?
I have 2 stock cars actually.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
The collection grows. Yeah, it's an addiction. It's okay. I can stop whenever I want. Um, yeah, so I bought. I had mentioned I had that Tony Stewart car.
Yep.
And it was a good learner car. It was an intermediate oval car that had been converted to road course, which
Okay.
They're always asymmetric and they're always unbalanced at some point. So, I was in a position where I had finished a good race weekend and it wasn't broken, and I was like, "Cool, we're selling it." And
That's
a really
so
good time to
funny.
sell it.
That's so funny.
So I sold it. I got decent money for it. Took that money. I knew of another car that was for sale. That was the McDonald's car,
Okay.
which I had mentioned, I think, before we got started.
Yeah.
And that car, what's cool about the McDonald's car is that it's a Ronnie Hopkins chassis, specialized road course chassis. Like it was built for Sonoma and Watkins Glen.
Yeah.
And the best part about it is that there's no pedigree to the car because it was an Andy Houston car.
Okay.
And Andy Houston, I hear he's a nice guy and he's
Yep.
still in the sport doing spotting. But,
Yeah.
his cup career didn't last super long, so it's not like the car's worth a ton of money, other than the fact that it's a really, really, really good race car. So I love it. And that's what I drive. That's what I race in HSR and SVRA. Yep. And then, really long story that we don't have time for, but a car that has always been my favorite car since I was like 5 years old. I had the opportunity to buy it, and I couldn't get it. Like, someone outbid me, and that was the end of it. Then fast forward like 4 or 5 years later, the guy who bought it reached out and said, "Hey, I heard you wanted this car." I said, "I do." And he goes,
Yeah.
"I want to sell it." And I was like, "Oh, let's do this." So Doug Deep was able to pick that up, and it's a Hendrick car. It's a '92 Ricky Rudd road course Lumina.
Heck yeah.
And
That's
it was
crazy.
it was a Gene Felton restoration,
Yeah.
and It's done right. I know Gene didn't do everything right all the time, but
Yeah.
this car is right, and it's beautiful, and it's actually so pretty that I really don't even want to put it. Like, I want to drive it really bad
Yep.
because it's like my childhood dream.
Yeah.
But it's so clean that I think I need to get it PPF before it goes anywhere.
That's funny.
And then I've got the E36, and the E36 is actually kind of like a light endurance car.
Okay.
It's made for HSR and SVRA, like historic endurances, like the Classic 24.
Yep.
And it's an E36 GTR replica, so it's carbon wide body. It's got an S54 swap. It's standalone, and it's getting. There's two things that some people know about, some people don't. It's getting a 7-speed DCT, and then after the 7-speed DCT, I don't think we touched on this. I'm actually a mechanical engineer.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
I've got a custom designed rear suspension for it that.
Okay.
When people see, their heads are gonna explode, and I think it's gonna be the hottest thing ever. So
that's
a
crazy.
lot of cool stuff coming with that.
Yeah.
I just need a couple extra dollars to get it going.
Yeah, no, that's good. Maybe we'll see Sector 1 slapped on the side of it and get it
You
out there.
absolutely will. It's gotta be a business write-off.
That's funny. Well, no, that's neat. We'll have to get some pics once I get this E46 wide body touring car out there. We'll get some pics side by side and have a BMW day, I guess.
Anytime, man.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Well, cool. Look, I really appreciate your time. I know you're gonna have a great time in Coda this weekend. Don't forget, guys, you can access Sector 1 on the app. Reach out to Scott at Lovett-Sector1.ai. And
it's number one, so sector1.ai.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you email me, guaranteed I'll email back.
Awesome.
I'm quick to respond.
Yeah. Scott, what are you doing in 26? Quick 30-second review.
I hope I am racing a whole lot more than I did in 25. There's a rumor that the stock car group in HSR SVRA, we're called NASCAR Classic now.
Yeah.
But there's a rumor that the NASCAR Classic guys are going out to Sonoma in the spring.
All right. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So I've never been there, and what better way to do Sonoma than in a cup car? So
yeah, that's insane.
We're gonna take them out there. That'll get the year off started good.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll see you at HSR events as well, and with that, we'll close it out.
All right, cool. Thanks, Clay. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you.
Yeah, man. It's good to see you. We'll catch up again, no doubt.